Gould, and John's got two submissions, the LTP submission and the climate change submission. He's happy to essentially present the two together, so we'll do that. So thank you for that.
Thank you very much. I've got to get through a lot of material, so I'll go really fast. Thank you to the staff for putting together a really comprehensive plan. I have a few concerns. These are big questions. The strategic plan states that the well-being of our people and communities is at the heart of what you want to do, and promoting equity, valuing diversity and fostering inclusion is one of the principles. So why is the council wanting to reduce the grants to community projects by 5%? Surely these are the very institutions that you need to be working with in order to meet those things. On that same topic, the homeless people sleeping rough are unlikely to come and submit today, so I'll say a couple of words on their behalf. I've been in Christchurch over 20 years, and in the last several years I've seen those numbers increasing greatly, which shows that inequality is getting worse, and that probably the council and the population of Christchurch are less empathetic than they were 20 years ago. You've got a budget of $13 billion over 10 years. Surely you can spare a few million or tens of million to actually address this problem. Next point, rainwater harvesting. It's an area that I have some expertise in. I've worked on it for 35 years, mainly in Africa, China, and the Pacific. Never really looked at it at Christchurch because you've got so much good water here, but there is a real opportunity if every household in Christchurch had even a 1,000 cubic metre rainwater tank for reducing the capacity of all your stormwater and wastewater network, helping flood protection. I put in a couple of small tanks and found them really useful when water restrictions came in, and excellent after the earthquakes when the water was cut off completely. You want to build resilience, promote water conservation and rainwater harvesting. And that I come back to that. Osnabrück in Germany in the early 1990s subsidised every household with between 1,000 and 2,000 New Zealand dollars to put in a rainwater tank. Particularly, so I'm urging the council to do a cost-benefit study, and particularly looking at households in flood-prone areas to start with. Finally, a point on road safety. The motorway here appalls me because people don't know how to drive. You need a really urgent campaign. You need signage like you have on the passing ways on the state highways to get people to move into the slow lane so they're not weaving in and out. If you don't, there is going to be their lives will be lost, I promise you. And I haven't written a letter to the press yet, but I will soon. So please, driver education and signage. I've got a few other suggestions there. A technical advisory group for citizens to work with staff and council to offer the expertise on water, transport, climate change, biodiversity. Establish a Citizens Sustainability Award scheme aimed at ordinary citizens who are doing great things. Composting, sustainable transport, whatever, on sustainability and well-being. And also I'd like to support Colin Merck's idea of moving from Garden City to first eco-urban national park. Right, I'm coming to the end of my first submission. I don't know how much time I've got left, but I'm going to just break it very quickly, show you a quick ad break. Stay cool, carpool, don't make a fuss, take the bus. Can we have the commercial break? Thank you.
Trafik præsenterer bussen. Chaufføren er cool, jeg er cool. Toplækre sædepladser. Gigantiske panoramavinduer med imponerende udsigt. Designer ringeklokker med cool funktion. Gratis håndtag. Den er stor og lang. Den har Og den kører også om natten. Jeg er stadig cool. Ja, bussen er cool. Så stå tidligt op i morgen og få en god plads. Midt trafik. Vi skal nok køre dig.
I'm glad you all understand German. This relates to both submissions. My next submission is on the climate change strategy, and you have identified transport as making up more than 50% of the city's submissions. And yet you've got a great bus network, but they're all running empty. They're part of the problem if they're empty. If they're full, make them cool, and then they'll help to address those submissions. The City Council has declared a climate and ecological emergency. The last time there were 420 parts per million of CO2 in the atmosphere, the sea level, that was 3.5 million years ago, the sea level was 10 to 20 metres higher than it is today. It is an emergency. It may take centuries to unravel, but unless we do something now, our children and grandchildren will not forgive us. So instead of going for net zero in 2045, make it 2035, go for 50% reduction by 2027. We're still stuck in this endless growth paradigm. Build more, expand, more motorway extensions, more satellite settlements with no thought of sustainable transport. And what about Terrace Airport? And I'm afraid, Madam Mayor, I was disappointed to hear you sort of passing the buck to the airlines and saying they have to decarbonise. You're not going to have hydrogen-powered or electric aircraft flying to Europe or Asia, anytime soon. Maybe that's why you had the electric plane in the library. I don't know if that was anything to do with the City Council, but anyway. A few things on programme number 2, understanding the effects of climate change. You're only looking at New Zealand. Bangladesh is a country the same area as the South Island. It has 170 million people, most living within 10 metres above sea level. Where are they going to go? We've seen what 5 million Syrian refugees have done in Europe. Where are all these people going to go? We're not worrying about 10,000 people from Tuvalu or whatever. There are going to be millions of people on the move. Will New Zealand and Christchurch be willing to accept 1,000, 10,000, 1 million climate refugees? Currently, New Zealand accepts 1,500. It's good to see that you're looking at climate change education, but why not to all schools, not just some? Again, for adapting to green infrastructure, I would encourage you to look at the rainwater harvesting aspect. In terms of carbon removal and restoration, you've got the most fantastic model out at Hinawai, restoring native vegetation. 80% of New Zealand used to be covered in native forest, now it's 20%. There's all this marginal upland farming, and I know that's a different area from you, but invite Jacinda, invite James Shaw, go take them to Hinawai, let Hugh Wilson tell them that his 30-year experiment shows what the whole of New Zealand could be doing. And if you haven't seen the clip, Fools and Dreamers, is a 30-minute one on YouTube, I would guarantee it.
Look, I'm going to have to draw you to a close.
Yeah.
I've allowed you to run over time.
Sorry, just I'm on the final point. Transport, carpooling lanes like Auckland, T2 and T3 lanes, run the buses full by charging $2 fares, or let the youngsters, the students, especially under 25s, have the same benefits as the gold card holders. Doing a great job on the cycleways, keep it up, and cycle training for school kids. One final plea, please don't cut the community grants. Please don't close the bus lounges at Riccarton, because you'll need them when the bus is become cool. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And there's no time for questions, I assume.
No. And
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
I am going to say, I hope that you've made an equivalent submission to ECAN.
I did a week ago.
And you showed them the video?
I showed them, no, but Axel showed them it in 2018. I stole it from his submission.
Different round of councillors. I think we'll share it with them. Yeah, thank you very much.
Please do. Thank you.
Thank you.